The following video is from a course I did for Groove 3 all about how to choose audio software, from DAWs to plugins. Whether you're brand new and looking to choose your first DAW or choose your first synth or your first plugin in general, whether you're more experienced and maybe a bit bored or a bit stale with the things you have and you're looking to maybe get a second DAW or an additional plugin to spice things up. It's about an hour and a half long, and as I say, it's on a platform called Groove 3. I'll include a link below. Do check it out. Let's dive in. In this video, let's talk about aliasing. In other words, are some synths higher quality than other synths? Do some synths have a better audio fidelity than other synths? The short answer is yes, but there's some nuance to it. I'll explain what I mean by this in this video. So let's take a look at some visuals here. In fact, I'm going to play a sawtooth wave, reasonably high in pitch, but a sawtooth wave in Serum. Can you see those peaks, those frequencies? I'm playing this sawtooth wave, so a single sawtooth wave, a single cycle, so many times per second. In fact, I can look it up, this many times per second. And this gives a collection of peaks. This is mathematically a sawtooth wave. However, compare this to another synth, the original Massive. Can you see the difference? I'll put them side by side. The original Massive has all these additional bits and bobs in between the main peaks. I mean, I'll point them out on screen, but I'm sure you can see them. Those main peaks are what it should be. That's a sawtooth wave if you mathematically take a sawtooth wave. So imagine a perfect triangle mathematically and play that a certain number of times per second. Mathematically, you'd get these perfect peaks. But all those additional little guys around the peaks, as you see here in Massive, are imperfections. These are digital imperfections, and we call this aliasing. Importantly, this isn't a different type of saw. I mean, I suppose technically it's a different sawtooth shape. More about that in another video. But those tiny other peaks you see around the main peaks, that's imperfection. That's digital imperfection. Aliasing. It's an imperfection in the way the saw is generated on a DSP level, a digital signal processing level, the audio science, computer stuff inside the plugin. Let's compare this to a more modern version of Massive, Massive X. You can see it's clearly better in Massive X. I put them side by side, so compare the original Massive to Massive X, both playing a sawtooth wave of the same pitch. And you can see there's less of this digital imperfection, less of this aliasing, but it's still there. And now let's compare this again to Serum, considered probably the cleanest synth overall. Therefore, objectively, scientifically speaking, Serum is higher quality than Massive and Massive X. But here's where it gets interesting. Does that matter? In fact, I'm going to play you, in fact, I can think of an interesting way to do this. So I'm going to play you 3 sawtooth waves in different synths. See if you can tell which is the highest quality. See if you can tell which has more aliasing than the others. Chances are you can tell the difference. Or I suppose it depends more accurately, I suppose, on what you're listening on. If you're listening on high quality headphones, something like this, I'll insert some B-roll. If you're listening on high quality headphones and you've got a bit of a trained ear for these things, and maybe you've done some back-to-back testing and you've almost tuned your ear into what this digital aliasing sounds like, you'd probably just about be able to tell the difference, especially if I'm asking you to try and find the difference. But in the real world, I'm going to say it doesn't actually make a difference. And even if it did make a difference, you could argue that's a part of the character. I mean, the original Massive and even Massive X is supposed to be gritty. It's supposed to have a bit of an edge to it. I mean, marketing aside, it's designed for gritty, aggressive leads, for energy, for aggression, for basses, for attacking sounds. I mean, you can make non-attacking sounds, such as this in Massive X. But for the most part, Massive and Massive X are designed for those cutting, biting, visceral sounds. And so you could argue maybe, whilst that aliasing and imperfection's not technically good, it might actually, even if you can hear it, add to what makes that sound cool. We could give it some character, some texture, some personality. And so whilst yes, technically there are higher quality synths than others, I don't want that to put you off, say, looking at Massive X, or I don't want to pick on those two, but it's just two popular examples. I don't want that to put you off a synth that's maybe lesser quality than Serum, because things have different sounds, and that's a part of fun, almost, of finding the imperfections and almost sometimes creatively using the imperfections. But nonetheless, it's an important thing to understand that there are these imperfections, and it's important to understand how to check. You simply grab a spectrum analyzer, as you've seen, and take a look, see where the peaks are, compare the same note and the same theoretical waveform in one synth to another synth, make sure all the highest quality modes are ticked, and see what it looks like. Can you see some things that look like they shouldn't be there? Now, you could also make the argument that it's better to have a high-quality synth because you can always add in the imperfection afterwards. You can't, for example, take Massive with all that imperfection and then somehow remove it. From a digital processing perspective, it's an impossible task. There's literally no way of taking this massive waveform with all those imperfections, the digital aliasing things, there's no way to remove those. You could maybe mask them, and that's in practice what often happens. If you add some reverb or some other sounds in the background, you can mask them so they almost disappear psychoacoustically, but on a technical level, there's no way to remove them. Whereas, what you could do is take Serum and add in the imperfection. There are various tools to do a similar such thing. You can take something clean and mess it up in one way or another. It could be traditional distortion, or it could be a digital type of messing up, such as a bit crusher, or there are various almost destroying plugins. They almost categorize them as that, things that intentionally crunch up and mess up a sound, but in a way that people use creatively. So on a very technical level, I suppose I could argue it's better to start with a high quality synth such as Serum, because you can always add in the imperfection, but don't let that theoretical imperfection necessarily put you off, because lots of people talk about this, and in fact it's one of those hotly debated things on the internet, especially when Massive X came out. People moaned about the aliasing, even though, to be honest, you can't basically hear it anyway. You could come a lot closer to hearing it in the original Massive if you compare Serum to the original Massive and you're paying attention to these things and you have good headphones. I reckon you can hear the difference, but with Massive X, it's nuanced and subtle and small, so maybe it's best not to worry about it, but it's something to consider, especially if you're picking just one synth. And I suppose that's the point of the course, as maybe you can't buy 10 different synths. If you can buy just one, it probably makes sense to pick the highest fidelity one, the highest quality one, and currently anyway, that appears to be Serum. But do the testing. You can download trial versions of synths, run some tests, see what you feel. I'm sure there's 4 or 5 others that are equally high quality now. And Serum's been around for a while, and there's quite a few new ones that have been out recently, such as Phase Plants. I'm sure, in fact, I'll throw it on screen now. I haven't actually tested Phase Plant, but I'm sure there are other synths out there that are a similar high level of audio quality. But again, do some testing and make a conscious decision. I suppose that's the point here. Make a conscious decision. Are you choosing a high fidelity synth that you can then crunch up afterwards? Or are you choosing maybe a lower quality synth, but in a way that has crunchy-like digital crunch that could be creatively interesting? Something to think about.